Hey, Camp Mavericks, it's Travis. In Camp Hacker episode 217, my tool of the week was the prompt of prompts. And I'm going to show you how you can create this for yourself by cutting and pasting the information that is in the show notes for that. And it will give you a tool to get better answers from ChatGPT or Gemini. Probably the others, it's just ChatGPT and Gemini are the ones I use back and forth. I'm going to create the prompt of prompts in ChatGPT because it has this tool called projects. So I'm signed into my free account here, and in a free and you should always be signed in my opinion. You should always be signed in to ChatGPT because of the memory. It'll remember some of the answers or the questions or the instructions or the background material that you've given it previously. And I think that's a shortcut to making things work a little faster. So I'm signed in because of the memory feature. Then I'm going to create a project. On a paid account, you get custom GPTs. I think projects work better anyway. I find I use my custom GPTs less and less all the time. And I probably have 25 of them built. So project, I think, is the way to do this. Here's where we create our prompt of prompts. I'm signed in. You should be signed in. If you're not signed in, you won't get access to projects, but I think it's valuable to sign in anyway. On the left-hand column over here, so when you first sign into ChatGPT, create an account, you're going to be given this space. You may not, but I think you do. You have this sidebar showing. I think it should be default. So it's there if it's not. Go to projects. And then for the purposes of this, I'm just calling this the prompt of prompts. And then I'm going to, I'm just going to show you this. You don't change this. Keep it at default because it accesses memory from outside this specific chat, and I think that's helpful. If you want, you can make it project only, but I think that's a little less effective. Create project. So now when I sign into ChatGPT from the first page, you can see under projects, I now have a new project called prompt of prompts. There's nothing in it. You won't do anything fancy until we get to this next stage. So number one, you can edit this. I usually use a unique logo or icon for it. I'm going to use a blue globe since this is something universal, and that just makes it a little easier for me to see, for it to stand out in the left-hand column. The next thing I do is go to the top right and click on the three dots up here, and that will give me a chance to edit the project, which is the stuff I just did. You don't need to edit it, but add instructions is where things get easy. Interesting, this is the cut and paste part. So I'm going to paste that prompt, and you can see from the scroll here that it's quite long, but it's built to be pretty long lasting. Like the instructions aren't very specific, but I am going to set a reminder every 3 months to take the prompt of prompts and ask another ChatGPT chat or another LLM to revise it based on the most current wisdom on good prompting. But it does a lot of things, and I'll show you how you use it and how you go about it. So you are, Lyra, a master level AI prompt optimization specialist. That's the role that you've given it to play. Role is always important. Your mission is transform any user input into precision crafted prompts that unlock AI's full potential across all platforms. So this is cut and paste. Lyra is from the person that put this out in the world that I grabbed it from. I think I got it from Reddit. I like Lyra just because it reminds me of the book His Dark Materials. And I'm not kind of nerdy. So it uses the 4D methodology. So it's going to break down or deconstruct what you give it and try to find the patterns. It's then going to diagnose the gaps, the things that you haven't told it that it might need to fill in on its own or ask you about. And then it's going to develop this whole new prompt type that you're going to cut and paste into a new chat. And then the fourth step is deliver it to you. So it talks about what it should be formatted like, etc. Some optimization stuff that helps with getting better results. I'm actually going to change this to ChatGPT 5 since that's the newest update. Operating modes, you don't really need to know what this does, but it gives you it a whole structure, and it encourages it to ask you questions if it's unclear on what you're asking. That's saved. Now I have the prompt of prompts as my tool. And I use this anytime I want a detailed answer or a deeper thinking answer. I want to use the reasoning capabilities, not just the spit stuff back out at me, but I want it to take its time and think. I use the prompt of prompts to create the prompt that that actually solves the problem I want to solve or is part of that discussion. At this point, you can do two things. If you have an old prompt that you've used before for something else, you can copy and paste it in here and say, please improve it. Or you can do, which I most often do, and say, here's what I'm thinking, help me write the prompt. And then I just sort of blather, like, here's the things I want, here's what I want it to look like, here's what I have available that I can add. And that's usually like other pieces of information. Here is a profile of our typical 18 to 25-year-old staff right now. Here's what they respond to. Here's how they learn. Those are all pieces. If I was doing something on staff manual or staff training, I'd pull those in and just tell the prompt of prompts that I have this. And then I let it tell me if it wants me to import it or add it now or after. And so I usually do this by voice because I rarely type anything anymore, but I can copy and paste. I can type if it helps you organize your thoughts. I do that, and I do say, help me write a prompt at the beginning of it, or help me write this prompt at the beginning of it, just to make sure it knows what it's doing. And then it's going to spit out a very long prompt. It may stop and ask you some questions for clarification before it does that. And that will show up here. It'll give you its answer. And then you're going to cut and paste that answer and go to a new chat and start it there. And then you're sort of shifting it out of its mode of I want to make prompts better into I want to solve the problem that's asked of me. So that's the very simple version. If that gives you enough to get started, away you go. I'm going to do an example here just so you know how to use this and what it looks like. And I'm going to assume that you understand that if I just say, help me improve our staff manual into a new chat in ChatGPT, it's going to spit out something okay. But the more information I give it, the more role I assign to it, etc., the better and deeper its analysis and the better the output I get. This prompt creates that. What I would do, see if my speech to text will work while I'm recording. Help me write a prompt that will analyze my existing summer camp staff manual. I needed to go through and look for patterns and ways to improve to make the communication more concise, more applicable to our seasonal summer staff who are 18 to 24 years old. And I want it to be really thoughtful about making sure that the information gets rewritten and presented in such a way that it's easy to understand, that it's in digestible pieces, and that it builds a bit of a reinforcement learning pattern throughout the manual. And there it pastes it. I would probably add some more. I could say when I go to use this prompt, I can upload our PDF of our staff manual, any research information I have about the readers, and any particular writing style that I appreciate. So between you and me, not me and the AI, I will put in something like write in the writing for busy readers style from Todd Rogers. And so I'm just going to hit enter and see what happens. I'm not putting in my manual. I'm just doing the step before my beginning of the actual project. So I'm going to see now if it what it kicks out. So you can see it's working. It's not super fast, but it's pretty fast. And it always sort of starts with the same thing, that I'm Lyra, as you showed before. What I need to know, that's what the AI needs to know before finalizing this prompt. Target AI, ChatGPT, Cloud Gemini, or other. Prompt style, either detail or basic. I have found that this prompt actually sort of defaults to detail, and you're going to see, I think, is probably spit out the first version of this prompt, which is the one I use most of the time. So it says, I recommend detail mode. And then before I build it, I want to answer these questions. So now I'm going to go back in and answer its questions. to get the prompt that I want. Yes, please proceed in detail mode. The primary output goal is the analysis with the rewrite. I'm going to copy and paste this eventually into a Google Doc and edit it there, but I want you to give me the analysis, so show me why you made the changes at the top, and then I would like you to do an actual first draft rewrite of what needs to be changed, the version recommended for it. Style preference. I will share writing styles I appreciate. So for me, I think that on a job like this, it should be based on the Writing for Busy Readers book from Todd Rogers. And this will be a complete rewrite of the manual, and I will iterate from there. So then I just paste this here. Now, between you and me, I probably would be better to do it iterative improvements and feedback chapter by chapter, but ready to go. So once you do that, once you answer those, I'll generate a ready-to-use master prompt. And so I've got some more details that I did, voice to text. It wasn't very organized, sort of typical Travis brain. I was all over the place, which is great. This is why I love this tool. Hit enter, and let's see what comes out. So it's telling me what it's going to do and how it's choosing to do it. And then I have this optimized prompt. And so it's much deeper already than help me make a better staff manual, which is kind of where I started from. Look at how long this prompt is, and it's still writing it. And so keeps going. So I'm just going to watch it. One of the benefits of doing this way is that the AI slows down and thinks these things through. So this is almost a page of instructions. So if I go into this little section, you can see the text is a little bit differently. I hit copy code. I go to a new chat. I paste here, and then I hit enter. I may choose at this point would be where I'd upload the information, my research on Gen Z and their learning styles. It would also be where I would upload the PDF of our previous book and hit enter. And I'm going to get a much better answer because of the prompt of prompts. I do use the prompt of prompts several times a day, and any time that I need a more thoughtful, well-developed answer, it's what I do. I use it to create custom GPTs or gems in Gemini, and or a set of instructions for a new project if I have something specific in mind. And if I was running camp today, I would have a project around parent communications, around staff recruiting and hiring, and fundraising if I was a nonprofit camp, and I'd have one around operations. And those would be my starting points, all again with custom instructions, and then all the different discussions on that particular topic will be kept there and easier to find. So thank you for watching. I hope this is incredibly helpful. I know it's a longer video than you wanted and probably than I wanted, but it will give you the tools to get much more out of AI and allow you to develop things quicker, think creatively, think quicker, and get away from your desk faster. Thanks, everybody.